Hi there, welcome in. My name is Junimoo and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something a little bit different. I am going to be showing you around a mega mods list that I have put together. Essentially this comes from someone asking me for a list of the mods and CC that I use in my game, and I didn't have one, and I spent all of last night making one and I really went overboard, but that's okay, that's in my nature. So I'm going to show you around this Google Sheets document that I made. It might seem a bit intimidating and there's a lot to it, but I'll walk you through it. It's absolutely fine. There will be a link in the description below to this document. Please don't try to edit it. If you guys want a copy of this for yourselves, you can go to File, you can make a copy here, and then you can rename it, and then it's yours and you can edit it. But the link that I'm going to be sharing cannot be edited. So anyway, here is my mega mods and CC list. This essentially has every single mod that I've ever had in my game or that I currently have in my game. I say ever in my game, obviously that's not the case, but it is the majority of the mods that I've ever had in my game, as well as the custom content that I currently use most frequently, but we'll get to that in a second. First with our mods. So when you come on to this first page, it is all of the mods that I have listed on this document. We have a little made by Junimoo games up here. I put a lot of effort into this, so I would really appreciate if you guys don't redistribute it yourselves or try to sell it yourselves or anything like that. If you just link back to this original video or the original link to this document, that would be great. So then I have when I last updated it. Obviously, if you guys use this as a template for yourselves, you can change this, you can do whatever you want, but just for the general one, if you're just using what I end up putting out, this is the last time it was updated. That basically means that from this point on, if there's any new mods that I've added to my game, I will try to keep this updated. It might take a while because I don't have that much time to be updating this constantly, so hopefully I don't come across too many new mods. So basically what I've done is I've alphabetically listed every single mod in my game or that has previously been in my game that I want some kind of link to because I did enjoy having it. The mods that aren't in my game right now, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that, you know, this is a lot of mods. I haven't even begun scrolling down yet, so I have to kind of be picky about what I decide to put in my game. So not everything is in my game all of the time. Sometimes I put certain things in while they're relevant and then I take them back out. So anyway, basically I've listed the creator's name, the mod name, whether it's in my personal game or not. Again, you can change this around if you use this as a template. And then I've added the link to whatever is listed. So for example, the map replacements by 20th Century Plumbob. Here you go. This is literally all of them, all updated for the latest patch as of when I'm uploading this. Then we have a Deep Indigo. So I've listed required utility mods. This basically means mods that you need in order to download and install any of the rest of the creator's mods. Obviously it's dependent on what the mods are and stuff, but this is just how I personally organize my mods folder. So I put required utility mods and then what they are. I have links to them here, and then I have all of that creators mods here. You'll notice as well, a Deep Indigo, both of their columns or their sections are orange. This will continue as we go down. If there's a required utility mod section, it will be the same color as whatever creator it is required for. Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, I won't go and list every single mod that's on this list because I think I would go insane. There is a lot of them, as you'll see. They're also color coded in a rainbow pastel color so that they're easier to read where there's like a division. So we'll just go down here. I hope that they're all in alphabetical order, but I have to do it manually, and I have to be honest, I don't know the alphabet as well as I probably should. I have to keep singing that song in my head every single time I add a new creator onto this list to figure out where they're supposed to go. So I'm really sorry if there's some kind of like, you know, mistake here, but that's what was happening here. But as you'll see, there's a lot of mods on this list, and specifically like a lot of mods from certain creators. So you come down to the very end here. This very end one, these I wanted to explain. So I have default starting sims in my game. There is a mod that allows this to happen, where basically when you go into cast and you're making a new sim, you know the base sims that come up, they're different. This has a dash next to it because a bunch of creators ended up contributing towards this. this. If you look here, Black Panda is the one who posted it. But when you scroll down, featured creators, there's like 15 of them. So instead of listing everybody, I just put a dash so that I could just put it at the end of the list and make it easy. So there we go. So these are every single mod that I currently have in my game, plus some extras that I add in. Then we have another sheet, and these are the mods that I absolutely cannot live without. Again, similar setup. I haven't changed anything. The only difference is that it's a much shorter list. This is just a really quick guide as to what I cannot live without in my game. This does not include CC. It's just mods. We'll get into CC in a second. So these are all my absolutely essential mods that every patch day, every update day, I wait until most of these are updated. There's some of them like shorter university degrees where I'm not always playing in university, but if I am, this is absolutely essential. So those are still on this list as well. Then the next sheet we have are cast mods. I did specifically separate the cast mods. Again, everything is listed in alphabetical order on this main page, but if you want to just look at what cast mods I have, here they are. I've included different traits, cast unlocks, different backgrounds that I use over the course of my time here making content, standstill on casts, like overrides. I will include a separate sheet for the overrides that I use, but this is a work in progress and I will update it as we go. So if you guys have any suggestions for different sheets or different sections that you would like to see, please leave them down below. I would love to help you out with that. Just keep in mind that it might take me a while. This does take a lot of effort and it is very time consuming. So please be patient. All of these links should work as well, but if you ever come across one that doesn't, please make sure to let me know. If you want to do that, please make sure to leave the creator's name and the mod's name, and preferably what tab it's on, if it's, you know, only on one or if it's on multiple. And finally, we have my custom content sheet. So this is where I kind of went a bit overboard. I've divided this sheet into genetics, hair, and clothing. And basically what I've done is I've listed every single piece of genetic Sims 4 CC in my game individually with their link so that you guys can get exactly what I have in my game to make my Sims look the way they look. But for hair and clothes, I've put the note, assume I have everything downloaded from these creators, because I do. Essentially what it says, I've listed the creator's name, whether it's in my game or not, and a link to basically their entire Patreon or Tumblr or whatever they use to upload their creations. Because with hair and CC, I just find creators that I like and I download absolutely everything from them. So that's what I've done here. Every single piece of clothing CC that I have in my game is from one of these 20 creators. And if that changes, I will of course update this list. Same with hairs. Every single piece of hair CC that I have is from one of these creators listed on this tab. The only thing that I specified for was the genetics, because I don't have everything from all of these creators. The only two that I do, and I did mention this, Northern Siberia wins here. I've just put in brackets literally all of it. So when you go onto their Patreon, just download everything, because I literally have all of their CC. So if you want your game to look like my game, that's what you do. You just download all of their CC, or just the ones you like, you know? There's also the same note for Sims 3 Melancholic, but everyone else I have specified what things I use from them. So I've listed the creators' names, then the name of the item or the set that this, whatever it is from. So for example, I have acne from Breezy Trait, I have eyelashes from Sims, you know, all of these things. And I've individually linked every single one of these as well. And this is all of the CC in my game, literally. The only exception to that is build by CC, which I will eventually make another tab for, but with build by CC, I'm trying to take it out of my game. I'm trying to be a bit better about that. So I'll probably just list my favorite creators of build by CC, not necessarily the ones that I have in my game, because I often don't have that much build by CC in my game. And of course, if you guys are looking for very specific items, pieces of CC, whatever it may be, off of one of my Sims, you can absolutely ask me in any of my comment sections. I'm so willing to help you guys with that. I have no problems with where can I find. This is just a general database so that you guys can kind of make your game look a bit more like mine if you want to, because some of you have been asking for that. And I really appreciate that. That is such a high compliment. Thank you. But yeah, basically this is my mega mods and CC list. I hope you guys find it really helpful. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys need any more clarification on anything, if you need any more help with anything, or again, if you have where can I finds, be sure to leave them in this comment section or any of my comment sections. I'm more than happy to help out when and if I can. Okay, so now we move on to my mods folder, and I'm going to go over how I organize this to keep it nice and neat and just really easy to like update mods that need to be updated every like patch or update for the game. So basically what I do is, you'll see here everything is in alphabetical order, as is always the case with the way I do things, and there's quite a lot in here and it looks a bit overwhelming, but it's really not once you get the system down. So essentially what I do is, every single mod that I have is labeled exclamation point, whatever the creator's name is, then a dash, and then whatever the mod name is. That way I know exactly who's made it, exactly what mod it is, and the exclamation points make it so that these come up first in my list, and you'll see why that is important in a second. So basically, exclamation point, a deep indigo after school activities. You go in here, there's the after school activities mod, really easy to find. Same with Calamitous Sims, same with Dynamic Teen Life, and here's all of the modules here for Dynamic Teen Life. Now all of these folders are different mods. The only difference here, and you'll see this on my mod list, is that I have required utility mods for certain creators. So these are mods that certain creators need you to have in your game in order for some of their mods to work. So what I do is exclamation point, whatever the creator's name is, dash, and then required utility mods. When you go in here, there's a couple of different mods here. For a deep indigo, they need shared overrides, they need shared tuning, and they need their general pies menu. I think they also need a mood pack, but it's by Lumpino, if I'm correct. So that'll be down in the Lumpino section. You can see down here as we go along, you have basemental drugs, basemental gambling, and then basemental required utility mods. And as we continue, Deaderpool MCCC has all of the MCCC, there's so many C's in that, modules in it. And you'll go further down, some just have the title traits, because there's a lot of traits here and I don't want to go and make different folders for everything. If there's a way that I can bunch things together without it being messy, I will do that. But for the most part, this is how I organize things. For example, Little Bo Bub's Granny Cookbook has the main mod here, but then there's also a subsection, subfolder here called recipes, and a subfolder within that of all of the different recipes that you can get with that mod. Now, I believe this mod, when you download all these recipes, this is how it's set up. It comes in its own folders that are named this same way. So I just kind of left it like that and transferred it over to this folder. Next, we get into my bigger categories in my mods folder here. So we have build by, cast mods, casts, functional CC, map replacements and loading screens, overrides, and poses. Obviously, you don't have to like word for word copy any of this. If you don't use build by CC, don't make a build by CC folder. If you don't use poses, you don't need that. But essentially the way that I go about things is, we'll start with build by because it's alphabetically the first one here. It's not the tidiest, but you'll see why. So essentially I've then listed every single creator that I have build by CC by and I have sorted them into those subfolders. So a winged llama, I have these by a winged llama, Charlie Pancakes, Hey Harry has a lot of stuff, and also Hey Harry and Felix Andre are a little bit difficult because sometimes they have sets that they co-produce or co-make. So some of that might be in one folder, some of that might be in the other. Those are the only folders that are a little bit messy, but everything else, if you click in, it'll have their CC, their build by CC. Now I could go a step further and like divide it into, oh, this is a bed and this is a bassinet. So I could make a folder for bedroom furniture and like nursery furniture, but I don't bother doing all that because I want to know, it's more important for me to know who the CC is by than what type of CC it is, if you get what I mean. So the reason this is a bit messy is because there's a set here that I actually don't know who it's by. And this is a little pet peeve of mine when creators don't put their like name in their file name, because I download CC so often and I download it in bulk. So if they don't have their, you know, their username in their file name like this, plush_pixels, and then it has the roar set here, then I don't necessarily know who they're by. So for the most part, I figured it out. I have no idea who this set is by, so it's just in my main build by. Obviously, I could go look it up, or I could use Mod Manager or the Sims tray file and kind of like reverse Google search it, but I just haven't had the time to. So that's just how I keep it. I'm not kind of arsed to really go in depth there. The rest of my mods folder is neat enough that I don't mind that there's a little bit of disorganization in there. So next we move on to cast mods. So in cast mods, again, I have exclamation point, the creator, dash, and then whatever the mod is. It's all very easy and manageable. The only difference in cast mods is I also have presets, replacements, and sliders in this category. Obviously, you could make these folders in your main mods folder. This is just how I like to organize things. So in my presets, you go into presets, then you have presets dash and then whatever part of the body the preset is for. So body, cheeks, chin, ears, eyes, head, jaw, lips, and nose. And then within that, you have the creators' names. You'll notice that at a certain point, I don't bother with the exclamation point. The exclamation point is mainly just to move things to the top. So that's mainly for really, really long folders like my main mods folder. So then within presets nose, if you go in here, that is all of the nose presets I have by Wistful Castle. And you know, you can see here all of my nose presets by Northern Siberia Winds. You get the picture. It's the same thing for every single section here. Then in my replacements, I have feet replacements and teeth replacements. So when you go in here, it's literally just that folder. There's multiple different creators in here, but like at a certain point, I don't really care that much if it's a small folder like this, as I've said. And same for teeth. I have default teeth, I have non-default teeth. And then for sliders, it's the same thing where it's whatever the creator's name is. And then within it is all of the sliders that I have from that creator. We'll skip cast for a second because cast is the biggest folder within this, so it'll take a little bit to explain. So I'll move on to functional CC. For the most part, it's Panda Sama's children's toys and toddler toys, because these are some of them, like this makeup kit is a Sims 4 script file, which means that you can't have it too far into your mods folder. It needs to be within, I think, one folder within your mods folder, so that's why I have that there. So then we have map replacements and loading screens. Within that, again, we have my exclamation point, the creator's name, dash, and then whatever the mod is. So here are the map replacements that I use. Here's the loading screen that I use, the car loading screen. I've had some people ask about that, so it's by Thematically. And this is the new main menu that I use, again by Thematically. Then we go over into overrides. So overrides, very similar situation. You're kind of getting the gist here where I do exclamation point, creator's name, and then whatever the mod is. So there are some exceptions here, like Apricot Rush. I have a lot of overrides by them. So when you go into overrides, you see Apricot Rush dash all. So then within this section, you have the different override folders. I hope all of this is making sense, by the way. It makes sense to my brain, but it might not make sense to your brain. But I hope it's helpful anyway. So same for Simcatu, I have animations, books, a computer desktop override, a flower arranging override, and like frames and paintings. Then we have my poses, and my poses are very dependent on what I need at the time. I only really use poses for taking thumbnail photos. For the most part, I don't actually have anything in this folder, and I just move things to this folder when I need them, because I don't want my pose list to be like overwhelming and for it to be very difficult to find what I'm looking for. So at the minute, I have a bunch of Rapaway poses in here and some other ones. That's just because I was going on a bit of a photo spree last night. Generally, this is empty until I need specific things, and I'll explain how I get those specific things and how I sort that in a second. But finally, we're going over my cast folder. Now, my cast folder typically only has 3 folders in it: clothing, genetics, and hair. At the minute, I have a Christmas folder in here because it's coming up to Winterfest in my game, so I have to have these. I don't have to have these, I want to have these in my game. So within this Christmas folder, I have, again, exclamation point, the creator, dash, Christmas, and these are all the Christmas pieces of CC that I have. Then we have clothing. So in my clothing section, I have all of the creators that I use for clothing, all of them listed here, and then when you go in, it has every single piece of clothing CC from that creator that I have downloaded in this one folder, which might seem a bit overwhelming, but I'm going to show you at a later point how I easily figure out what I want in my game what I don't want in my game, if something's broken, whatever. That'll be coming later on in the video. If you're wondering about a piece of clothing CC in my game ever, it's going to be by one of these creators. These are the only clothes that I have in my game. Then we'll move on to hair, because it's a very similar setup where it's just the creator's name. I go in, here is every single hair that I've ever downloaded from this creator. And again, if you're ever wondering about a piece of hair CC that is in my game, it's by one of these people. If that ever changes and I've found a new creator that I have downloaded from, I will update my mods and CC list. So don't worry about that. And then we have genetics. Genetics, again, very similar thing. The creator's name, you click into it, and this is just an amalgamation of every piece of genetic CC that they have released that I have downloaded. So this is like where my mods folder gets a little bit messy, but even still, again, I have ways to go through this and really organize it and figure out exactly what I want and what I don't want in my game. So it is actually more organized than it might seem. So this is my main mods folder. Now I'm going to go over where I put my other downloaded CC when I'm not using it. Okay, so now we have a split screen between my mods folder and my desktop. And basically what I have on my desktop is two random folders, one called medieval, one called modern. Obviously there are many ways you can do this. This is just how I organize these things. Most normal Sims players won't need this medieval folder. I only have it because I do like playing historical challenges in The Sims. This helps me be able to separate medieval CC and medieval mods and historical stuff from my more modern mods and CC. This just helps so that when I'm playing, say, Very Veggie, which is obviously a modern save, I don't open up cats and have just loads of like Victorian dresses or medieval dresses or tiaras or whatever the case is in my modern save files. So you can kind of ignore this. We'll put it over there. For my modern folder, this is normally just a blank folder. And then basically if I have mods, CC, whatever the case is in this main mods folder that I want to still have, but I don't necessarily want in my game, I don't want to lose them. Say if they have settings or if I'm just worried that I'll forget what they are, I move them into this modern folder. So in this modern folder, you'll see I have a bunch of mods. Again, these are labeled the exact same way as I normally do. I like all these mods. I don't necessarily need to have them in my game constantly. For example, language barriers is a really cool mod, but I don't necessarily need it in a modern save file. It's very specific to certain things that I'm playing, so I don't always need it. So I'll just have it on my desktop instead in a more neat way so that I just don't have random folders all over my desktop. As well, you'll see I have like a Halloween folder, and this has every single piece of Halloween CC that I've collected. I think you get the gist. This is just how I organize things. Now I'm going to go over one of my favorite apps or like software pieces that I've ever come across, especially to do with The Sims. This is called the TS4 Mod Manager by Game Time Dev, and it's incredible. Basically, you open it up, it has all of the folders within your mods folder. So you'll see here, every single one that I just showed you in my main mods folder is here. Now, this doesn't really matter that much. What really matters is the CAS folder. When you open this up, I have 6,461 pieces of CAS CC in my game. And for the ones that have included thumbnails, it will show exactly what is in my game. So say, for example, I don't want this ombre accessory. I can click on it, and then you have all these options up here. You can activate, deactivate, move. You can add and remove categories. So you can basically add tags so that you can easily find things. You can copy files. You can also delete files. So if I didn't want this in my game, I'd have two options. I'd either get to deactivate it, which basically keeps it in the folder that it is living in, but it adds a deactivated tag to it so that when the game launches, the game doesn't launch with that specific piece of CC installed, which I think is really cool. So if I deactivated it, we know that that's by A. Harris Brittany. So if I then went to my cast folder, my hair folder, my A. Harris OO Brittany, and then I went to find the candy hair ombre roots accessory, it now says says .package off. And if I were to go into my game, that then wouldn't show up in my game because it's been tagged as off, which is really cool. And then you can simply click it again in this mods manager, you can activate it again, and it'll show back up in your game. But you might think, you'd be looking at this, you're like, okay, there's 216 pages of this. It's going to take ages to go through all of this. Yeah, I agree. So if you go over here to folders and you click on it, it then goes into all of these folders separately. So if I were to go to CAS, now you can see it shows Christmas, clothing, genetics, hair. Amazing. I go into hair, it has all of my separate folders, which is why I separate everything by CC creator or mod creator, but specifically CC creator in this case, because if I know that there's a hair in my game that I'm not particularly thrilled about having in my game, again, let's just say, I don't know, a Johnny Sims hair, for example. This is not a commentary on anyone's hairs, by the way. I'm using this as an example. I love Johnny Sims hairs. But say, for example, I didn't want this in my game. I already know that it's a Johnny Sims hair, so that is how easy it is for me to find it and deactivate it or delete it from my game. And again, because most mod creators or CC creators put thumbnails into their files now, all of these are perfectly depicted as how they are in the game. So I can exactly see what I'm looking for and go, oh, hey, I don't want this in my game anymore. Deactivate it and then find it again, reactivate it, and then it's back in my game. Same thing with clothing. I can go through all of my folders. I can pick out exactly what I want, what I don't want, which is amazing. This is an exact depiction of everything that's in my game. So I always know what I have in my game, what I don't have in my game. It's really easy to sort out. There are some exceptions to this where some of them don't have thumbnails. And if that's the case, most of the time I just leave them as is. If I do have an issue with a piece of CC, I will show you what I do if I can't see them through the thumbnails using Mod Manager. Okay, so I'm in game now to show you how I get rid of CC if it doesn't have a thumbnail in Sims 4 Mod Manager. Say for example, I have this base sim. Doesn't need to be anything special. It's literally just a canvas for the pieces of CC that you want to take out of your game. So the only thing that I know that she has on her is my default skin and these eyebrows, which I will change so that they're not CC eyebrows. Let's say I want to get rid of this hair and I know that I want to get rid of this hair. I'll put this hair on this sim. Then let's go into my genetics, my skin details, and let's say I want to get rid of this baby hair. Now it doesn't show up underneath the hair, but she is actually wearing it, right? So then what you want to do is you can randomize her traits because you need to save her to the gallery, and then you save this household to the gallery. Well, to your library. Then what you'll end up doing is opening up the Sims 4 Tray Importer. This is a really cool application, but again, it's maybe a little bit complicated if you don't know how to use it. So we're just going over the basics today. You can come over here and you'll find the households that you've saved. This being our latest sim that we saved just there, but there are two pieces of CC that we wanted to get rid of. Then we go over to CC here, and here we have every single piece of CC that is on this sim. So we have this baby hair here that we were talking about. We have this other hair that we were talking about that we wanted to get rid of. And then these are other things that were on her other outfits that I didn't actually clear out and I probably should have. So remember to do that if you want to use this as a way to get rid of CC in your game. And also she had custom traits, so they came up as well. It also includes any sliders that you might use, so keep that in mind. But for example, we know that we want to get rid of this Sims 3 melancholic hair. So on the one hand, I could go into my mods folder. I know where this is very easily, but if you don't, you can right click and then say show containing folder, and it will open up where this is in whatever your mods folder is, and then you can just delete that and there you go. And you can do the same thing with this hair as well. It'll be highlighted. We know it's the Marie hair, and you can go and you can delete it. So that is how I organize my mods folders, my CC folders, how I make sure that the CC and mods in my game are the ones that I actually want there, that there's nothing clogging up space in my PC or my game. This is just how I stay organized. Everyone has different systems, so if this doesn't work for you, don't don't worry about it, but if I could be of some help, I hope I can be. All of the apps that I use will be linked in the description, as will my mega mods and CC list. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for 500 subscribers. I really, really appreciate it. I had no idea that my channel would grow this fast. I only started in October and it's January now, and I absolutely love this little community that we're making on this corner of the internet. You guys are so lovely and have been so welcoming and open to me and my content, and I just adore talking to you guys and making content for you guys. So this is a little, I won't say gift, that seems very like, I don't know, pretentious, but this is a little gesture, I guess, from me to you to thank you for this milestone and for all your support. I hope this video helped you guys and that you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye!